Wildlife Sanctuary is also an eye-pleasing experience for bird lovers. One may come across different bird species, adding color and sound to the richness of the sanctuary. The peafowl and great hornbills are two of the most common birds found in the sanctuary. As a wildlife sanctuary, Phibsoo forms a complete food chain with the existence of subtropical flora and water resources.
The loss of wild animals, they come here for drinking, and it's also sort of a resting place for them. So since this area is a very good habitat for the wild animals, so lots of animals are seen time and again out here in such places. So to avoid them from poachers, we do conduct routine patrolling out here.
Although comprehensive surveys have not been conducted and the numbers are unknown, Phibsoo Wildlife Sanctuary is expected to be rich in herpetofauna, fish and butterflies given the relative health of its ecosystem and habitats. The sanctuary has remarkable habitat biodiversity for both its floral and faunal species because of its varied topography and climate. It potentially has more species than any other range under Sarbang Tsongkhar.
The long-run objectives of the conservation out here of this Phibsoo Wildlife Sanctuary is that basically to conserve the flora and the fauna, and whereby the lots of wild animals are being protected, conserved, and not only this, not only the wild animals, even the floras.
Through the 1990s, Phibsoo Wildlife Sanctuary was inaccessible due to bordering militant insurgencies. It was only in 2009 that the park began to implement conservation initiatives with support from WWF Bhutan. Therefore, the sanctuary's infrastructure, conservation and management policies are currently limited, especially with respect to basic wildlife and border patrolling, staff capacity and equipment. Today's continued security challenges are currently being managed by the Sarbang Forest Division. Another big challenge in the Phibsoo Wildlife Sanctuary is poaching. It has proved very difficult for sanctuary caretakers to fight against such illegal activities due to lack of trained personnel and other resources such as weapons, radio communications, surveillance equipment and transportation. Apart from poaching, the harsh summer season proves difficult for the staff to adjust in the sanctuary. Like all protected areas, human-wildlife conflict is another major conservation challenge. According to a socio-economic survey carried out in March 2009, Phibsoo Wildlife Sanctuary is home to 2,611 residents, of which 1,254 or 40% live inside the sanctuary. The two most populated areas are Singye Gyawag and Nichula Gyawag. With crop agriculture and livestock rearing the primary source of livelihood in the area, wildlife damage to crop yields and property is the major concern of local communities. In 2008, farmers from both Singye and Nichula Gyawags roughly estimated a loss of 1.7 million nutrients in crop damage caused mainly by wild pigs, monkeys and elephants.
So this is an issue that the Ministry of Agriculture and Forest has been looking into since several years. And now what we are trying to do is get the local people on board, involve them in the planning to become partners of conservation. So they become, in a way, co-owners of the wildlife sanctuary. So we are looking at turning this problem into an opportunity for the local communities.
On a lesser scale, local communities also encounter livestock depredation from tigers and leopards. Therefore, in a move to reduce human-wildlife conflicts, electric solar fencing has been provided to the local residents.
Till last year, we were not growing crops in this field. This year, harvest was first time in 15 years.
At present, the Divisional Forest Office is responsible for implementing plans and policies as well as supervising and monitoring the park. Regular conservation activities are being conducted in the field, such as creating salt licks and water holes, improving grassland meadows, surveying and assessing elephant populations, and monitoring elephant trails.
The transboundary cooperation with India is of utmost importance in order to protect and develop this wildlife sanctuary. So we are in touch with the authorities in the Government of India, the Department of Forest and Wildlife Conservation. So we need to work together because as you mentioned, there's a lot of issues that are common to both the countries, and unless we have consistent programs and policies on both sides of the border, we are not going to be able to protect this species.
Over time, the management plan will help guide community outreach, management-oriented research, conservation programs and tourist activities among other initiatives. The sanctuary is also developing infrastructure to support a separate conservation management division office at Thimba under Singing Gyog. With these conservation management developments and Phibsoo Wildlife Sanctuary's rich flora and faunal diversity, the park may become one of the best diversity hotspots in Bhutan.
Per square kilometer basis, I think you could actually have much more sightings of wildlife in this sanctuary than any other parks in the country. So it is very, very important for the country, and the Ministry of Agriculture and Forest is currently developing the management plan. So later on we hope that we could develop this sanctuary into a ecotourism center where we would have camping facilities for tourists to come, and also our own people to go there for holidays. So when they go there for holidays, spend time in the park, naturally the local communities will benefit. So this sanctuary has a very bright future.
Like many other protected areas in the country, Phibsoo Wildlife Sanctuary has become not only a wildlife paradise for endangered animals and plants, but a testimony to the world that Bhutan is fully committed to environmental conservation as one of the pillars of Bhutan's development philosophy of gross national happiness.